Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, today we are pulling back the curtain on fame itself. I mean, we see it every day, but what's really going on behind the scenes? What's the machinery that creates, sustains, and, yeah, sometimes even destroys a celebrity?
So, let's start with the most basic question, right? What does it actually mean to be a celebrity? I mean, is it about talent? Is it about influence? Or is it something else completely?
Okay, so at its core, the word celebrity, it actually comes from the French célèbre, which just means well-known or public. And, for a long time, that was pretty much it. But as the 20th century got going, that simple definition just didn't feel like it was enough anymore. It started to feel, well, incomplete. And it raised a much trickier question.
So by the 1960s, something really crucial was starting to shift. And historian Daniel Boorstin, he just nailed it with this almost paradoxical idea. A celebrity is someone who is well known for his well-knownness. Think about that for a second. It's totally circular, right? It's like fame itself became the skill. The main achievement wasn't what you did, but just the fact that people knew who you were. This insight, it completely cracks open the whole idea of celebrity.
All right, fast forward to our time, and that critique gets even sharper. The argument now is that celebrity has totally detached itself from the old ideas of, achievement. It's become a reward not for actual talent or skill, but for things that, well, critics might call essentially worthless. And this is the central tension we see playing out everywhere today.
Okay, let's really get into this. To understand how we got here, we've got to break down the different ways people become famous, because it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
So, a sociologist named Chris Rojek came up with this really great way to think about it. He breaks it down into three types. First, you've got achieved celebrity. This is fame you earned through some incredible skill, right? Think movie stars, top athletes. Then there's ascribed celebrity. This is the kind you're just born into. And finally, you have attributed celebrity, which is fame that is, and this is key, pretty much handed to you by the media.
And for our deep dive today, we're going to look at Elizabeth Taylor. She is the perfect example here. She starts out as the absolute classic achieved celebrity. Her fame was built on something real, her incredible, powerful career as a Hollywood actress. She absolutely had the talent.
But here's where it gets interesting. Is talent ever really enough all on its own? As one researcher, C. Bell, pointed out, this idea of pure achievement completely ignores the huge role the media plays. They're the ones who decide who's important. I mean, think about it. You could be the most talented person on the planet, but if nobody's writing about you, are you really famous?
And that question brings us right to our next section. We're going to see exactly how this played out, because Elizabeth Taylor's life is where the modern celebrity media machine really roared to life, and she was right in the middle of it all. So picture this. It's 1963. The movie is the epic blockbuster Cleopatra, and you've got Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, literally the two biggest stars in the world, playing the leads. The problem? They were both married to other people, and they began a scandalous, passionate, and very public affair. And this wasn't just some Hollywood gossip. Oh no, this blew up into a global spectacle. Suddenly there are these grainy photos of them on a yacht, the Vatican itself comes out and condemns them, and the public just could not get enough. Their entire personal lives, the divorces, the marriage, the blowout fights, the insane gifts like giant diamonds, it all became this non-stop soap opera for the entire world to watch.
Now here's what's so wild about all this. That frenzy to get a picture of them, any picture, it actually created a whole new industry. The non-stop chase to capture their private moments, those stolen shots on the yacht, that's what gave birth to the modern paparazzi. The name itself came from a movie, but it quickly became the word for this totally new, super aggressive kind of media.
And boy, was this spectacle profitable. In the 1960s alone, Taylor and Burton raked in a combined $88 million. Think about that. Their fame wasn't just about their acting anymore. It was about their lives, turned into a public performance. And the world was more than willing to pay for a front-row ticket.
So you see this huge shift, right? From being famous for what you do to being famous for how you live. This completely changed the game. It basically threw the doors wide open for a kind of democratization of fame, where the old rules just didn't apply anymore.
And this leads us to a new concept from that same sociologist, Chris Rojek, the selectoid. What's a selectoid? Well, they're not stars with real staying power. They're people who grab the media spotlight for just a second. A lottery winner, a contestant on a reality show, and then poof, they're gone. And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, look at this number. In Britain, it's estimated that 250,000 ordinary people show up on TV every single year. 250,000. The demand for new faces to feed this machine is just relentless.
What this has created is basically a fame factory. It's a conveyor belt, and reality TV has absolutely perfected the process. Step 1. Find an ordinary person. Step 2. Blast them with media attention. Step 3. They become a temporary celebrity, a celetoid. And Step 4. When their 15 minutes are up, they get forgotten, and the cycle just starts all over again with someone new.
And here's the crazy thing. Elizabeth Taylor's own story kind of comes full circle. Her 8th and final husband was a guy named Larry Fortensky, a construction worker she met in rehab. Isn't that wild? After living this life as the ultimate larger-than-life celebrity, she was drawn to the very normalcy that this new fame machine was busy turning into a spectacle.
So, where does that leave us today? In this world totally saturated with influencers, viral stars, and just this constant flood of new faces.
Well, we have officially entered the era of the DIY celebrity. Fame you can build yourself. The old barriers, they've pretty much crumbled. With reality TV, the internet, social media, the tools to get in on the action are, at least in theory, in everyone's hands now.
And the contrast is just stark. On one hand, you have the old Hollywood model, like Elizabeth Taylor started with, fame built on rare talent, tightly controlled by powerful studios. And on the other hand, you have the modern DIY celebrity, fame that comes from being discovered as an ordinary person, celebrated for being relatable, not for being exceptional.
But, and this is the big but, for all of these changes, one thing has stayed exactly the same. That attributing function of mass media is almost always required. It doesn't matter if it's an old Hollywood studio, a tabloid magazine, or a TikTok algorithm. Some kind of media has to shine the spotlight. They are the ones who turn a person into a celebrity.
So here's the big takeaway. The technology changes, but the celebrity machine just keeps on running. The gatekeepers might look different now. It's algorithms instead of studio heads, but they're still there. And as that line between the audience and the star just completely dissolves, it leaves us with a really mind-bending question for the future. In an age of AI influencers and viral nobodies, what's fame even going to mean?